Greek skies. The music of the spheres. A man sits alone in a quiet room with a single string pulled tight between his hands. He plucks it. A note rings out and hangs in the air and slowly fades. Then he presses the string down at exactly its middle, cutting its length in half, and plucks again. Out comes the same note, but higher, cleaner. It fits the first one perfectly, like two voices singing the same song. He stops, and he thinks about what just happened. He did not change the string, he only cut its length in half. In half, a plain, simple number. 1/2. And a beautiful sound came out of a simple number. He tries it again, another way. He holds the string not at the half, but so that two parts sound against three. And again, a lovely settled note. 2 against 3, 3 against 4. Every sound that pleases the ear turns out to be a small, tidy little number. And a strange, enormous thought rises up in him. If beauty in sound is really just simple numbers underneath, then what else is? He puts down the string, and very slowly he looks up at the sky. Before we follow where that look takes him, let us remember how far we have already come. Our earliest ancestors simply looked up and noticed that the sky repeats itself. Then Mesopotamia began writing the sky down on wet clay, and Babylon used those records to predict what it would do next. Egypt built a whole kingdom around the heavens. India turned the sky into endless mathematics and handed the star map to ordinary people. China kept an unbroken watch on the sky for thousands of years, never letting the watching stop. The Maya, alone in the jungle, counted the sky into calendars that outlived their own cities. Greece pictured the sky as a great machine of spheres, and then went out and measured it. Persia gathered all of it into one royal book of tables. Sailors crossed the widest oceans with the sky held inside their heads. Builders set their calendars into standing stone. Africa kept the stars alive in song, and Japan kept a borrowed sky running for 1,000 years. And last time, the Aztecs, who believed the sun was their own responsibility and fed it so that it would rise. Now, we have met Greece twice already in this story. Once as the people who drew the sky as a machine of spheres, and once as the people who measured it and worked out its true size. But before all of those Greeks, there was an earlier one, a stranger one, the one they all quietly learned from. And he did something no one in our story has done yet. He did not just watch the sky, he did not just measure it, he tried to hear it. His name was Pythagoras. And here we have to be honest with you right away. We are not even sure the man himself said most of what he is famous for. He lived about 2,500 years ago, born on a small Greek island called Samos. He gathered around him a secret brotherhood in a Greek town over in southern Italy. They shared everything, kept their teachings hidden, and swore not to write them down. So he left us not a single line in his own hand, nothing. And into that silence, the stories rushed in. Within 100 years, the legends had completely swallowed the real man. They said he had a thigh made of solid gold. They said he could be in 2 cities at once. They said he remembered all of his past lives. There is even a famous tale that he discovered his great secret by walking past a blacksmith's shop and hearing music in the ringing of the hammers. It is a lovely story. It is also almost certainly not true, and the science in it is simply wrong. Hammers do not ring in tidy numbers the way a string does. You cannot find this law in a forge. You find it, as he really did, on a string. So we will do what careful people do with a half legend. We set the golden thigh gently to one side, and we keep the one idea his followers truly built their lives around. And that idea is breathtaking. They believe that underneath everything, all is number. That number is not something we invented to count sheep. That number is the actual stuff the world is secretly made of, the hidden thread running through all of it. And where did they get such a wild idea? They got it, exactly, from that string. Remember what the string showed. Cut it in half and you get the same note, higher. That perfect match we call an octave. And it lives at the plainest number there is, 2 to 1. Sound 2 parts against 3 and you get the next sweetest step. 3 to 2. Sound 3 against 4 and another, 4 to 3. Every harmony the ear loves sits on one of these simple little numbers. Beauty, it turned out, was arithmetic. You could hear the numbers. And that is the moment his whole world tipped over. Because if a plucked string is secretly ruled by number, then, he reasoned, so is everything else that moves in an orderly way. And what moves in a more perfect, more orderly way than the lights in the night sky? So he made a leap that no one had ever made before. A wild, gorgeous leap. Each planet, he said, rides on its own great circle, moving at its own steady speed, at its own distance from us. And the thing that moves must make a sound. A slow one hums low, a fast one sings high. So each planet, sweeping around forever, must be sounding its own single endless note. And all of those notes together, low ones and high ones, near ones and far, must blend into one vast, unbroken chord. The whole sky, he believed, is quietly singing. A music so huge it holds the entire heavens together. He called it the harmony of the spheres. But wait, you are thinking, if the sky is really singing, then why in the world can we not hear it? And they had an answer for that. And it may be the most beautiful answer in this whole series. They said the sky has been singing that one note since the very second you were born. It has never once stopped. It has never even paused. And a sound that never ever stops, they said, becomes a kind of silence. You only really hear a sound because it can begin and end. This one never ends. So you were deaf to it from your very first breath. The music is not too far away to hear. It is too constant. It is the sound your own life is soaked in, so completely that it feels like nothing at all. Now, was any of this true? No, the planets are not making sounds. Space is silent and empty, and a fast planet sings no song. But do not laugh at it too quickly, because underneath the dream, these people got real things right. They were among the very first Greeks to say out loud that the earth is not flat but a ball, a round world hanging in space. They noticed too that the bright star of the morning and the bright star of the evening are not two stars at all, but one single wandering planet showing up twice. We call it Venus. That truth they very likely learned from the long records of Babylon, and we should thank Babylon for it. And one bold member of the Brotherhood dared the strangest thought of all. He suggested that the earth is not sitting still at the center of everything. He was wrong about where it went. He had it circling a great hidden fire that no one can see, not the sun. But sit with what he did. He was among the first in all of Greece to take the earth and set it moving, as just one more traveler in the sky. 2000 years before the world was ready to believe it, someone in that secret brotherhood had already whispered it. The earth might move. Now most of these people you will never hear of again, but the dream they started does not die. It goes on to touch almost everything that comes after. First, it captured a young man named Plato, the most important thinker in all of Greece. Plato drank in the whole idea that the heavens are really mathematics you can see. He taught that studying the stars and studying music were two sides of one coin, sister skills. Over the door of his famous school, the story goes, he demanded that everyone entering must first know their geometry. From Plato, the dream flows down through the centuries. The music of the spheres becomes one of the most haunting ideas in all of history. Poets write about it, philosophers argue over it. For 2000 years, thoughtful people keep straining to hear a song they know they cannot. And then, at last, one man takes it more seriously than anyone ever had. His name was Kepler, and he lived 2000 years after Pythagoras. Kepler believed with his whole heart that the sky was a piece of music written by God. And he was not being poetic, he meant it, literally. He spent years of his life trying to write down the actual sheet music of the heavens, working out which note each planet sang, as it sped up and slowed down along its path. He was chasing a ghost. The planets sing nothing. But listen to what happened while he chased it. Buried inside that mad, beautiful hunt for the cosmic chord, Kepler stumbled onto something real. A clean, exact rule linking how far each planet sits from the sun to how long it takes to go around. It is one of the most important discoveries in the history of science. And he found it, tangled up, while hunting for a song that was never there. That is the strange gift Pythagoras left us. The music was a dream, but the faith underneath it, the deep belief that the sky runs on simple, beautiful number, kept paying off over and over for thousands of years. And it is still paying off. Ask a physicist today why they trust one idea over another, and many will tell you quietly that the truer one is usually the more beautiful, the one with the simpler numbers underneath. That is Pythagoras, still whispering 25 centuries later. Now, we should be fair and finish the honest part of the story. Because this same brotherhood that saw so deep into the sky also believed some very strange things. They treated numbers almost like little gods, each with a secret meaning. And, famously, they refused absolutely to eat beans. No one is quite sure why. Genius and nonsense sitting together in one basket, and that is the human truth of it. The people who reach highest are rarely tidy. They grab at everything, and only later do we sort the gold from the beans. Our story keeps what the sky itself confirmed. It smiles kindly at the rest. So what did this strange man add to our long journey? Every people before him watched the sky, or wrote it down, or steered by it, or feared it. Pythagoras did something no one else had. He listened to it. He was the first to say that the sky is not just orderly, but beautiful. Beautiful in the deep way a piece of music is beautiful, built out of simple, perfect number. The idea that the universe is written in the language of mathematics, and that its deepest truths are elegant, starts here, with a man and a string. And that brings us, at last, to the end of our journey around the world. We have now circled the whole earth, and everywhere we went, jungle and desert, ocean and ice, mountain and island, we kept finding the very same thing. Someone looking up, and then building something, a tower, a temple, a ring of stones, a chart in the mind so that they could look up better. In our final episode, we walked back through all of those places, one last time, all the observatories of the ancient world, side by side. And we asked the last question, what is left of them now? And what is left of the people who stood in them, staring up, trying to understand the sky?